The Building of the Asgard Fort and Loki's Punishment by Klingensmith. The gods feared that the frost giants would invade Asgard while Thor was away fighting monsters. Often they spoke together of the danger. One day Loki advised them to hire a workman whom he knew to build a fort strong enough to keep out the frost giants. The gods listened to him, although they knew he very rarely gave good advice. The workman was brought into Asgard. Very strange things he demanded. He said that he would have built the fort if they would give him Freya, or the sun and the moon when it was finished. The gods agreed to this, but they said he should have nothing if the fort was not finished by the first day of summer. The workman said he would do the work if he could have Svadilfare his horse to draw the stones. On the first day of winter he began the work and worked tirelessly day and night. After this the gods were frightened. They feared the fort would be finished on the first day of summer. Sure enough, 3 days before the first day of summer, only one pillar was unfinished. Seeing this, the gods threatened to kill Loki if he did not find a way out of the deal. They could not give up Freya, and if they gave the sun and the moon, everything would be in darkness. So on the last night, Loki changed himself into a monster and charged out of the woods before Svadilfare. The horse was so terrified that he ran away, and the workman was forced to go after him. So the fort was not finished in time. Seeing that he would not get his reward, the workman transformed into a giant as he really was, and Thor killed him with his hammer. Loki's Punishment. After the death of Balder, the gods sent out Hermod his brother to the realm of the dead to beg the goddess of death to release him. Hermod rode 9 days and 9 nights through valleys so dark that he could see nothing at all. At last he came to a bridge made of glittering gold. Modgud, the maiden who kept the bridge, stopped him and said, "What is your name?" Hermod told his name, but did not say that he was a god. Then the maiden said, "Why do you who are living try to cross this bridge? You shake it more than a whole army of dead men." Hermod said, "I come to see Balder the Beautiful, and I pray you let me pass quickly, for the gods wait wearily in Asgard." When the maiden saw that he was a god, she hindered him no longer. Hermod rode on until he came to the kingdom of the dead. Spurring his horse, he leapt over the gates without touching them, and rode swiftly to the palace, and entered. There he saw Balder in the highest seat, and spent the night with him. The next morning he begged the goddess of death to release Balder, and told her of the sorrow of the gods and the despair of all the earth. The goddess replied, "If all created things, the lifeless as well as the living, will weep for Balder, I will release him. But if anything refuses to weep, he shall never return to Asgard." Hermod rode back to the gods, who sent messages throughout all the worlds to beg everything to weep for Balder. All things, men, animals, plants, even stones, wept willingly, and the messengers returned gladly because they thought Balder would be released. But on the way to Asgard, they found a giantess who said, "Balder never brought me gladness. I will not weep. Let death keep him." So because there was one thing that would not weep, Balder remained forever in the realm of death, and the gods grieved. Now this giantess was Loki. But the gods did not know it until much long afterwards. When they found it, they determined to punish him. So Loki fled to the mountains, where he built a square house with 4 doors so he could see in every direction. Often he changed himself into a salmon and hid in a stream nearby. But Odin sat upon his throne and saw Loki's hiding place. One day Loki wove a net like the one he had borrowed from Ran, the sea god's wife. Just as it was finished, he looked out and saw the gods coming. He threw the net into the fire and plunged into the stream. But the gods saw the shape of the net in the ashes and wove one just like it. When it was finished, they held it by the ends and dragged it through the water. Then Loki hid between two stones and the net passed over him. The gods felt that something living had touched the net, and the next time they weighed it so heavily that Loki could not slip under it. This time he tried leaping over the net. The gods tried again, and Thor waded in the middle of the stream. As Loki tried to leap over, Thor caught him. He was so slippery that he almost slid through Thor's hands, but Thor grasped his tail tight, and he could not escape. Then Loki was bound, so he could never free himself. His wife was allowed to bring him food and water, and so he was punished for his many evil deeds.